Yeah, kid. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Handsome Homebuyer podcast. My name is Charles, aka the Handsome Homebuyer, aka Captain Permit. Let's see if today's guest has got the third one, aka
Captain Permit.
No, I did Captain Permit. I already did Handsome Homebuyer. What's the third one? You have some Spanish in you.
No, I don't.
Oh, all right. El Judío Maravilloso. Welcome back. Really appreciate you guys. This is our first in-person podcast since the whole COVID thing happened. We've been doing the StreamYard thing. Now we're back, bigger than ever. Tons of stuff happening. We've got my man Levy. Levy, say what's up. What's up? Levy's going to be with us 24/7. So if you thought we had too much content before, if you were saying to yourself, Jesus Christ, I hate this guy, Charles, the Handsome Homebuyer. All I do is see him. He's haunting my dreams. Unfortunately for you, it's about to get a lot worse. Levy's with us full time, every day, all day, on all of our different platforms. We're going to have unique content on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. What am I missing? Twitter. Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
Check us out at handsome_homebuyer and Charles Weinraub across all platforms. All right. Obviously, we gotta rep my man who was just in here a few minutes ago, who's actually helping our guest today on one of her listings. Captain Permit, 516-513-8838. If you need plans, you need permits, if you need anything permit related, tip to tip on Long Island from Queens, not into the boroughs just yet, but it's coming, people, to Montauk, we got you. Legalizations, interior alterations, new construction, commercial, decks, sheds, finished basements, just general drama. And obviously, if you're a listing agent, you got to go to lotusquotes.com, LOTUSQUOTES.com. That was right?
Yes.
Thank you. When you list a property, you go to Lotus Quotes, you put in the address, and for free, yes, for free. If it's free, it's for me. If it's free, it's for you. You get a free CO search from Captain Permit. You get a free quote from Allstate on flood and regular insurance. And you get a free tax grievance analysis from the Hella Group to see if your taxes are under, perfect, or over. Obviously, I'm the Handsome Homebuyer. If you have a house that smells like cat pee, is dated from the 1960s, has 6 inches of mold on the wall, human waste floating past the basement steps, commercial property, land, you name it, I'm quick, I'm easy, I'm a good time. I'll buy it in Long Island and all the 4 boroughs. I want to buy it. 516-777 sold.
Love
all right,
that.
To the guests. We got the fire. You feel it? You starting to feel it?
Yeah, I feel it.
See, now you're gonna start to get the camera addiction. So today's guest is a rising star in the real estate world. I met her a year ago at an outing, an event, and this is the second time I've been in her presence, but I've been watching her via social media, not as much as I want to, which is part of our episode today. She was formerly with Douglas Elliman. She is now with Coldwell Banker, with our man, the myth, the legend,
Dan O'Neill.
On the O'Neill team. She went in the last year, she worked, when she was with Elliman, she sold 8 houses in a pre-COVID world. Today, after being with the O'Neill team for a year, in a COVID world, she is on pace to do how many houses this year? 30. 30. So the question is, and I think we hopefully going to get the answer, and a lot more, is why and how. So with that, I give to you Miss Briana Murphy.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
I'm so
it.
happy to be here.
So I guess let's delve a little more into this. So I met you at that event. What event was that? Ask the Expert panel.
YPN, I think.
YPN Ask the Expert panel.
Yeah.
I was walking out. I see you talking to Dan.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke for a second. You're like, Dan's like, she's thinking about, going from Element to Coldwell Banker. I said, yeah, that's awesome. We talked for a minute, and then that was the last time I seen you in person. Mm-hmm. And then since then, you're everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you changed it up. You went to the O'Neill team, massive change, and you're just like, all I see is listed, closed, everywhere.
Yeah. It's been like a wild year.
Right?
Yeah.
So I want to get a little bit of background first, right? So that people understand exactly, where you grew up, where you come from. You are very young, although we just had a conversation before, and you're like, I'm getting old, and I'm like, I'm almost 41. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But a little bit of background for people: where you grew up, where you went to school. I know that you are an avid cheerleading coach.
Yes, I am.
And then how you got into real estate.
So I am 20 years old. I went to Sachem High School. I grew up in Hotesville. I basically started out working like 3 jobs at once all the time. I was a bartender, I worked at a daycare, and I did cheerleading too.
All at the same time?
Yeah.
So, it's interesting. Everybody loves, you went to Sachem, right?
Yes, I did.
Everybody loves Sachem. Like everybody loves Holbrook, Holtzville, Farmingville.
Yeah.
What am I missing? Bohemia. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves that area.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you a little secret. I always wanted to be a bartender.
Really?
And I wanted to do that cool shit like Tom Cruise in Cocktail. He like flip the stuff around and caught it. Plus I don't drink, so I figured this would be great. Mm-hmm. I'm sharp, I'm on point, but I never got to do it.
No, it's not as fun as you would think it is.
Can you do any of those tricks?
I used to think that I could. Like I could lift like 4 bottles at a time, but
all right.
Yeah. But
two in each hand?
Yeah.
Can you do that anything?
Shockingly.
Where you line it up on the bar and you hit the one glass and it all goes across and goes on fire and then, no?
No.
None of that.
But I was always very competitive. I was like, I'm going to ring more than everybody here tonight. And I always would. So I think that's where like my competitive nature comes from.
Well, where do you think you're, so obviously very hard working from the get-go, 3 jobs out the gate, very competitive, but in a nice respect. Like, you're a nice person. Yeah. Like, I feel like when I see you on social media, I'm like, she's nice. She's like really nice.
Yeah.
So where does that like competitive fire come from, you think?
I don't know. Honestly, just being in sports my whole life and just like always wanting to be the best and be the best one. I was very disciplined as an athlete. I always, made sure that I always came back the next year better than before. And I don't know. I feel like I implemented that like in my careers too.
Okay. So you work in 3 jobs at once, which has got to be chaotic. And then what happens?
And then, you mean as far as like getting into real estate?
Yeah. Like, were you just like, this is...
So I was tired of going to work, being exhausted and just having no plan and having no future. I felt like I was making so much money. I was making like $800 a night. I had all the money in the world, but I had no plan for my future. I had no goals. So I was like, I'm tired of this. I think I did it for like 8 years. And I was like...
Did you go to college or no?
I went to Suffolk.
Okay.
I went to Dowling, and I just like nothing ever stuck with me.
Okay.
I wanted to be a teacher, and then I was like, So, yeah. So
no disrespect, teachers.
Yeah, no disrespect. But I was just like, there's just like a cap there, Yeah. So
no.
I was like, listen, like my dad had this pipe dream. He's like, you know what? we're gonna flip houses together. And I'm like,
oh yeah?
Okay, Dad. Yeah. I'm like, all right. So I go out to get my license, and my dad we flipped one house, and then
that's really cool.
Yeah.
So you did actually
and it
flip
was
a
the house across the street. Yeah.
How did it go?
We got 2 tenants. One tenant didn't pay, and it was just a complete nightmare. So after that, yeah, my dad was like, I'm done with this. We did the LLC.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, I have my license now, so I'm just going to run with it.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. So I just, from then on, I ran with it. And that's when I joined at Douglas Elliman. And then...
Which wasn't that long ago.
No, it was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So early 20s, having fun, working a million jobs. And then you just got to the point where you're like, I need to do something different.
I was exhausted. Yeah.
So then you got into real estate, and it seems like obviously success has grown tremendously in the last year, but it seems like you always kind of had it. So is it the work ethic? Is it the hustle? Is it, things that you're doing uniquely different than other people? Like, what do you attribute your,
I honestly, I don't say no to anything. Mm-hmm. So any lead, any opportunity I was ever given, I beat it to the ground until it was dead. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, that along with, my energy, as soon as I meet people, I try and make them feel as comfortable as possible and let them know that I'm a real person. And I'm not like, hi, my name is Briana and I work at, So I feel like I always established relationships right off the bat, and people trusted me. And then from there, I just felt like that's, why I was successful.
Okay.
But other than that, I was working part-time bartending, and I was doing real estate. I had a full bar. I was running out taking calls. My manager was freaking out. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. So it got to the point where I was just like, you know what? I just have to, try and stick with this and do this full time. And then that's really when I started with Dan. So
yeah, I think that's an important point though, because I always kind of like try to drive this home, because you'll watch these gurus on YouTube and shit, and they'll be like, if you love to do this, just like quit your job, quit your life, and just go and do it.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It might work for some people, but I think like what I did and what you did, and in my opinion, a better way is to kind of transition from one to the other.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a period of like complete and utter chaos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's going to be a period of like a year or 6 months where, you know, you're doing 14 different jobs and trying to build one thing and not sleeping, and it's just nuts.
Yeah. And I did it because I needed the income. But then like luckily I just like saved whatever money I could, like lived like a poor person, and just like did real estate, and it's working out so far. So I have not gone back to bartending for about like a year and a couple months now, and it's like amazing. I remember just not being able to do anything on the weekends and just not having a life, and it's just a complete change, and I love it. So
you seem to love it.
Yeah.
And you can only really, in my opinion, like you can only grow the way you've grown and succeed the way you succeed and will if you really, really love it. Like you can't like mediocrely like something and be really successful at it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know I mean, obviously you know I love Dan, and I love your entire cohesive team of people.
Yeah.
They're young, they're fiery. I was like, Dan, I got my license, I want to be in it. And he said, you need to have a tattoo. It's a prerequisite for being on the team. And you know, the whole Jewish cemetery thing. So I was out. But yeah, it's a great kind of cohesive group of people. And I have this thing I call it broker beef, where I feel like most brokers aren't doing shit for their agents. And a lot of times you'll talk to agents more so in the commercial space, and they'll view everybody as their competition. With your team, there's like a very kind of unique energy about all you guys, where you're helping each other, and everyone's promoting everybody, and you're like on the cutting edge of, you know, social media and all the things that you're doing. What kind of, and you know, and not to badmouth anybody, but in the change from over the last year, what have you seen that's different? What do you equate to like this growth and this new environment and the team? So
what I love most about being on the team is that we're basically everyone's biggest cheerleaders. Like it's unbelievable. When I was on Douglas Elliman, it was just like a lot of pressure. There was a lot of deadlines. And it was just not a healthy environment to be in. So as soon as I went to Dan's team, he, you know, sat down with me one-on-one. He's like, listen, what are your goals? He's like, we're going to get you to your goals. We're going to get you from point A to point B. And, you know, he gave me all the resources I needed to, you know, do that. And from time to time, you know, he sits us down one-on-one and he's like, what can I help you with? What do you need help with? And that's awesome. That alone, like, it makes me want to do it for me, and it makes me want to do it for him. And like, it also creates this like awesome competitive, but like good competition between each other. And, you know, it's just, I don't know, just the energy. It's just a great team.
That's cool, because again, I'm not a realtor. I'm not in that space, so I'm not exactly sure. And then you always talk to realtors, you're like, for someone that's new, that's coming on, you've heard a lot of negative experiences about teams. Do you feel overall in the right team scenario when someone's coming in new? Because I feel like new agents, they're not getting the education, they're not getting the time, people aren't. You're just kind of like, you have your own business and you're kind of thrown in the deep end of the pool. Yeah. And it's either sink or swim. And for that reason, you have like 2.5% of all the agents are doing all of the business. Yeah. So how important do you feel it is to be on the right team when starting out or at any point?
I mean, like, you need to have a great mentor from the start, because if you have a great mentor, you're learning everything that they're doing. Mm-hmm. And especially with agents and everything being like around social media now, I feel like Dan is like the best person you could possibly be working under. And I feel like he's taking it by storm. And that's why, you know, everyone I feel like who comes under him, like, he like drills it in your head, like social media. And that's everything now. So, you know, I feel like anyone who gets the opportunity to be, you know, on this team, I'm like, you're going to be successful.
So let's talk about being a realtor, and a successful realtor is a very demanding, difficult, time-consuming job. I don't think people truly understand exactly, you know, what's involved in the hard work. And like we were talking before, every day is a shit show. So it's like if you think you have a plan, you wake up every day, if you think there's anything you do other than like hold on for dear life.
Yeah.
So just kind of talk about just the things in general that, you have to do, funny stories, things that you have to deal with, just the demands on your time. It's basically a 24/7 job.
Yeah. So my phone starts going off at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So I feel like every night I'm sleeping with like one eye open. So I wake up in the morning and the phone's going off. Recently, I actually, thank God, I just closed the deal. It was a deal that the homeowner agreed to deliver like FHA, like approved, and it wasn't. So of course the homeowner didn't do anything, and we had the appraisal, and I'm like, this is not going to be ready. I'm like, I'm going to Home Depot. I'm buying a countertop. I'm dragging it through Home Depot with my heels on. Yeah, dragging it through Home Depot with my heels on. And what else did I do? I'm asking my dad to cut me a piece of drywall. I'm spackling it on the wall. I'm painting the chip paint. Like, it's I've rented appliances from Rent-A-Center. It's just
to get the deal closed.
Just to get the deal done. And the agent, who's a top agent, she reached out to me and she's like, you know what? She's like, this deal would have died so long ago, but because of you, she's like, it closed, and I'm like so thankful for you. And I was like, that meant so much to me. And she reached out to Dan, my manager, and sent a nice text. But
like maybe 0.5% of all agents would do something like that.
Yeah.
But it's pandemonium from the moment you get up to the moment you go to sleep, and you are running your own business. So if you don't close deals, you're not making money. Mm-hmm. So with that, I want to talk about the market in general, about what's going on. Actually, so there was the pre-COVID market, and then I want to talk a little bit about like COVID and how you feel COVID has impacted your business, and just how this insane year that is 2020 has been going. Yeah. And then ultimately, the market is bananas right now, like totally fucking bananas.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
So COVID, when COVID hit, I think, we were all just kind of like, oh God, like, what do we do?
What did you do during COVID?
I just like got ready to sit on my couch like every morning. I feel
some people chilled and some people just like went.
Yeah. So the first week I was like, I guess like we just can't do anything. So I just, you're like sitting down, you're like, okay.
Start twitching?
Yeah. Like, I guess I'm like following up on my leads. No one knows what's happening. We can't like cold call. We can't do anything. We can't go to any houses. It was just a nightmare, but I was still obviously following up with my people. But it got scary because it was like I couldn't really take any new clients, and when that happens, like it affects you like for the next months ahead.
Yeah.
So I was just following up with my leads, and luckily I had a lot of referrals at the time. And then once COVID opened up, I just like hit the ground running, and I was out with like as many clients as I could be, obviously following the rules.
So that was probably like, how long were you guys down for? I don't remember, because the whole year is kind of like a blur.
I know, it's like so hard to go back.
For 4 months? 3 months?
Yeah, just about. But then we were like, we could go out and like do drive-bys and do like virtual showings. So I was doing that when I could. I did wind up putting in a couple offers virtually and then doing the inspection with the buyer there. But other than that, it was like tough, because I feel like if that didn't happen, I would have been on track to do more deals than I did.
So what are you seeing in the market now?
I feel like it's just, I don't know, it's just crazy. Like, it just blew up. And now I think at one point I had like 8 buyers. Mm-hmm. And it was just wild. 20K over ask. Like, I was telling them right from the start, I'm like, if you want this house, you got to go 20K over ask. And that's just how it is. Mm-hmm. So I would have to call the agent, basically beg them, to take my offer. This is what I'm offering, blah, 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 blah. And just like putting my best foot forward when I was presenting it, and just hoping that. But
that's a big thing, because it's like you have to have a relationship with your clients that they trust you. Because normally if somebody turns to you and says, I want you to pay $20,000 over the asking price, like, what are you talking about? We're trying to get it for less than the asking price.
I know.
So that's a testament to, who you are and the rapport that you build with your clients. Mm-hmm. Do you work with, you hear different things, like you hear old school agents who've been in the business for 30 years, they're like, you want to be a listing agent.
Yeah.
Right? You want to be a listing agent. And then there are some people that really like working with buyers. I'm kind of the opinion that in most businesses, you need a healthy mix.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself working with more buyers or more sellers? Is it like a transition when you first get into the industry, you work with more buyers and then you build a brand and you get more sales?
Yeah,
what is your mix like?
Definitely working with more buyers right now, just because I feel like since I am, fresh in the industry, that's just how it is. A lot of my people right now are referrals, and I am starting to get more listings. But right now I'm just like running around with, as many buyers as I can. And a lot of my deals have been with buyers. Yeah. And
you're closing a lot of deals, obviously. So I'm curious to know, every time I do an open house, like we did that open house on Winthrop in Uniondale last weekend.
Yeah.
And Dan said we got 27 offers.
Yeah.
So you seem to be closing a decent amount of deal, of like percentage of offers that you put in. What are you doing to stand out when it comes to presenting an offer for your clients that is obviously getting you the nod?
So right before I see the property, if I know they're going to love it, I call them, I introduce myself. I say, hey, my name is Briana Murphy. I'm from Coldwell Banker. I have a buyer. They're pre-approved at blah, blah. I think your property is perfect for them. Can I see it at whatever time? So I go, I see it. If they love it, I call them right away. I say, hey, the showing went well. They love it. I'm going to put an offer. This is going to be our offer. They're pre-approved. I just remind them. And then I just create like a relationship with them and just like...
This is the listing.
Build rapport, yeah.
Okay.
And then usually I just like keep following up and just, yeah.
So you just kind of very kindly, gently, yet persistently beat your offer into... Are there certain times where, your buyers have gotten properties due to your follow-up or due to like your team's follow-up
100%, yeah.
and they weren't necessarily the highest number, but they're like, oh, we know this deal's going to close.
Absolutely.
We know her. You have that credibility, or, your mortgage partners or whatever it is.
Yeah. So we have a great team of lenders behind us. Our attorney, I also let them know when I call them too. I'm like, they're using my lender. They're using my attorney. I'm going, 10, 15, 20K over. My buyer, I always give them a background story. I'll be like, he does this, this, and this. And just kind of make them feel comfortable right off the bat. So when they present it, they know as much information as possible.
So being in the game for 2 years and now having a lot of experience, real estate is sexy now. I mean, real estate is always sexy, but it's sexy now because you hear stories of like, houses going for 20 grand over ask, 50 grand over ask. Like, and the amount of people that are looking to become agents is growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone that wanted to become an agent or just became a new agent?
I always say make sure you do your research for your brokerage and make sure that you find a mentor that you can work under, because ultimately you're learning everything from them. And you need to find someone that's willing to actually teach you, because a lot of these managers or a lot of these people that have teams, they're too busy. And I feel like they just put you on their team and then they just go. So you need to find somebody that is going to be willing to work with you and that's going to be giving you the time, because you're going to basically be them, take on all their skills.
So let's talk about, bringing in business, lead generation, things like that.
Yeah.
You're not a big social media person.
I know. I wish I need to be more of one.
But still you are. You're posting, things you're doing, et cetera, houses that you're selling. Lead generation is the number one thing of any business.
Yeah.
Right? Whether that's, buyers, sellers, what are you doing as much as you'd like to divulge? What do you recommend for people? And as far as like methods of bringing in deals, and then like, what does it really take to do that? Because I don't think people really understand.
So I feel like a lot of my referrals a lot of my business is referrals, honestly.
Okay.
A lot of friends, of family saying that, I do this. And honestly, they see what I'm doing on social media. And a lot of people have reached out to me that by the time I go to the listing, like it's already signed.
Yeah.
So that's good. As far as, bringing in leads that have been given to me, as far as Zillow, just establishing a relationship and just showing them, good energy. And usually they stick with me, like right off the bat. I think my Zillow leads have like a really good conversion rate, just because like I don't let them go.
Essentially what it is like, you're working your ass off.
Yeah.
Like you freaking work your ass off.
I'm out every single day. Like I'm literally telling them like, you can't see anybody else, I'm like, any home, I'm like, just call me. I'm up. I have no kids. I'm not married. I'm like, I will meet you at 8 a.m. on Sunday after I'm drinking all night on Saturday. Like I don't care. So, and I tell them that right off the bat.
You're probably a very fun drunk.
Yeah, I'm wild.
It's just, yeah. I would think of it as more just like lots of smile, because you're a very smiley, laughy, happy person now. I just kind of look at it like as a 10x type of thing on that.
Yeah.
It's just like more smiles, more laughs.
Yeah, I'm crazy. So I try not to go out so much because I know that, like this comes first, but.
Yeah, it's just, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I've been hearing this kind of stuff. Again, I'm not an agent, so I don't hear a lot of this stuff. But lately, I've been hearing the rustling of agents are concerned with just the way, like the trend of the market is going, in the sense that Zillow is hiring agents, and like Redfin is like hiring agents, and there seem to be just like an attempted shift in the market. Mm-hmm. People have been asking my opinion, and I always say to them, I was like, listen. Things come and go.
Yeah.
If you're a hardworking, people need quality agents. There's very, very few quality people that do anything.
Yeah.
If you're putting out the kind of service that somebody like you are, that's what people want. That's what people are going to need.
Yeah.
And people don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's talks of, agents may or may not need to be necessary because then you can just buy stuff online with this whole COVID thing and things are going more virtual.
Yeah.
But I would argue that someone like yourself that's really putting in the work, that's knowledgeable, that understands the market is invaluable.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, it's so funny because people were saying the same thing when Purple Bricks came out. They're like, "Oh my God, yeah, it's like it's like a company that came out that it was like almost like a Zillow or a Redfin, and they were listing houses. I mean, you still see it around every now and then, but people were worried that they were going to take over, and I'm like, no, they're not. The same thing I think with Zillow. Like, I'm not concerned that Zillow is hiring agents and they're going to steal our business at all, because I feel like people, I don't know, I'm not concerned about it.
No, I mean, I agree with you 110%.
Yeah.
But I guess people see the next new thing, the next new shiny object, and they get nervous or they want to jump. What do you think? I'm curious to get your opinion on the market in general as a go forward, because you hear a lot of people that are freaking out. They're like, a lot of people moving out from the boroughs. Yeah. Are you seeing a lot of people coming out from the boroughs? Like
a lot of them.
Are your buyers, like, who is your buyer base really? Is your buyer base people that are local, that are coming of age and want to buy a house, having families, or are you seeing a lot of people coming out from the boroughs?
A lot of them were people from the city this summer.
Yeah.
And having no idea how to buy a house, knowing nothing about the area, just not knowing anything at all. Mm-hmm. And they're buying like $800, $900 million houses, and they're like, we know nothing, so just show us the ropes. So yeah.
And a tiny shoebox in Queens is like $2 million. Yeah. So I have like a grass and backyard. Like, this is
exactly.
Is crazy.
And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And they're the easiest clients. Mm-hmm. So yeah, a lot of it has been from the city. As far as like where the market's going, I don't know. Everyone's saying that the bubble's gonna pop soon, but I'm like, they've been saying that for 3 years.
No. I mean, there was like a lull that comes and goes. I mean, my opinion, you got another 2-3 years of this. And I don't think it's going anywhere.
I just think it's crazy that a couple years ago, they're like, prices are so high. And then that last year, prices were even higher. And then this year, prices are even higher. So
insane.
It's crazy.
But it's all kind of tied. Like, the rates are dropped. I always tell people, like, you're not really buying the price of a house. You're buying a monthly payment.
Yeah.
So, if you have a 5% interest rate, that's all of a sudden a 2% and 2.75 or 2.5% interest rate. You would normally be able to buy a $400,000 house. Now you can buy a $500,000 house.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious about your process. Like, I don't know if you have it as like a standard thing or you just do it subconsciously. But when you have somebody that comes out from the boroughs, or just in general, like, you deal mostly with first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
So this is like a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, they're buying a house. It's probably the biggest purchase they'll ever make. Mm-hmm. It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a big deal. And I'm sure it's, scary for them and overwhelming. And now you add to the fact, like, crazy bidding wars. So how do you take a new client who knows nothing, who calls you up and says, hi, Briana, I got referred to you from XYZ person. They said you're amazing. And I see you on social media and I think you're amazing. How do you, educate them, make them comfortable, have them trust and believe in you? And then what's kind of the process when you're taking them out, and how long it takes?
So I have a conversation with them right from the start. And I said, listen, I'm like, the first steps are the craziest steps. I'm like, we're going to go out. You're going to love a house. You're going to put an offer in on it. You're going to be, nervous and anxious. And then, you do the inspection, you sign the contract. And then that's the worst of it. I'm like, so just expect when you love a house, like, you need to hit the ground running, and it's going to be scary, but that's what you're going to expect. And then things are going to slow down. Things are going to be okay. But I give them a first-time home buyer list. and I do, from the inspection, I do the steps. So they like really follow those steps.
What do you mean? Like you put together like a checklist for them?
Yeah, like a checklist.
Okay.
And then this way, like when we're going down the checklist, like I check in with them. I'm like, okay, inspection, next we're going to do contracts. Okay. But before the whole process starts, I tell them, make sure you have, your lender, make sure you have your attorney. And if it's, I always make sure that they use my people if it's someone that I'm like, about. Yeah. And they usually trust me and they use my people. And this way, everything runs smoothly.
How has it been out there, bidding? Do they get to a certain point? Do they have to lose a couple houses before they're really ready to go? Is there like kind of like a process with that?
Yeah. I mean, I expect like the first couple houses, I'm like, we're not going to get that first house. And I kind of like for them to learn, to put the offer in sometimes and then like lose and kind of see the process to experience it. And then I don't want to push them right away. And then like right after that, I'm like, listen, this is how it's going to be. You've seen it. You've experienced it. Yeah. Like we have to go in, hard. And my job is to get you the house. So do you want to like play around or do you want the house? Because I can get it for you, but you have to trust me. And then they usually listen.
You must be a very patient person.
I am.
People, you coach children. Mm-hmm. It's but that's very smart and it makes sense because I feel like you're giving them enough room to breathe, to experience it on their own without being pushy up front. And then once like they've experienced it and they see, you're like, okay, listen, now let me explain to you. Now you see how it is. This is what we have to do. And if you want this house, this is what it's going to have to take.
Because it is cutthroat and I don't want to, overwhelm them because it is an overwhelming process. So, if I feel like they're a little timid and I want to go with what they feel comfortable with and then, but if they love the house, I'm like, no, this is where we're going in. You need to go in here and, it's going to get us the house. And it has. Mm-hmm. Do
you tend to stick to certain areas? Like a lot of the, traditionally the realtors that have done a lot of business, like, the Brian Carps of the world, et cetera, they always have kind of like this home base. Yeah. And they kind of stay within that home base. Are you everywhere? Do you kind of have like a cluster of towns that you are like just specialize in where everything, every street, every comp? How do you structure your business?
So everywhere, I would say like Sachem. I feel like I could tell you,
makes sense.
Every street. I could tell you exactly which street cuts in half and which side goes to what elementary school. Like I am most comfortable in the Sachem like community. That would be Lake Grove, Holbrook, Coatesville. But I go anywhere the phone rings. So, and if I don't know the area, I'm Googling and looking up every, landmark, any parks, anything that's close. This way, when I do meet with the client, I could be like, oh, this is over there. This is the elementary school. So it doesn't look like I'm not unfamiliar with it.
Yeah, you're informed. Yeah. I'm curious to know, like, so there's you've been in the business for 2 years. There's another agent that's been in the business for 2 years. Does 4 deals a year. You do 30, 40, 50 deals a year. What's the difference? If that person wants to get to your level, what's the difference?
Just like eat, sleep, breathe real estate and just don't say no to any opportunity. And just like whenever I have the time, I'm listening to podcasts. Like I'm always constantly trying to learn and really just setting goals for yourself. And,
do you have, I'm curious, do you have a story where you went to something that other people would have said, it's a waste of time, but then it ended up developing into something that was much bigger? Because it sounds like you follow up on every single lead. Yeah. So I feel like there's certain leads that somebody might be like, it's just, it's not worth it. Like I had Sal Rizzolo from Cardinal was on the podcast last week. And typically loan offers don't want to do like smaller deals, like $100,000 condo deals or something like that. So I did this $100,000 condo deal and everyone's like, don't do it. They're not going to make any money. What's the point? And then that same person referred him to somebody that gave him $3.5 million worth of business. So has anything like that ever happened or you're just...
Right now, like nothing has really like flourished for me like that. But there has been deals where, oh my God, I would meet a Zillow lead and it would seem like they're absolutely crazy. And I would show them 1 million houses. And then they were like, oh, we have a house to sell. Can you sell our house?
That's what I'm talking about.
We have an agent, but we hate our agent. Like we really like you. Can we hire you? So I'm like, all right, like fine. And then we go there, I do the listing appointment. I have to get the listing release from the other agent and then sold their house during COVID. It was a nightmare. They bought a new house and now they're kind of referring me all their friends and they're like putting me on their social media. Like, we love you. We've been out to dinner.
Nice.
So yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So it's like people need to understand that if you want to be successful, it's grinding, it's hard work, and it's following up on every deal. Like Briana says, she like basically just beats every opportunity until basically they either buy or die, and they don't look that sickly to her. Yeah. It's that simple.
I remember my first deal I ever did. I was running around Mastic for like months with this guy, and I'm like, he's gonna buy a house. Like,
you're like, it's principle at this point. I don't give a shit.
I know. I'm like, I don't care. It's been months. I'm like, now I'm at the point where like I just need to get him a house. So it turns out he never wanted to buy a house. I think he just wanted to hang out. And, and it's yep. And the house that I put the offer in on with him was where I met my friend Alyssa, who was on the O'Neill team, who was the reason why I'm on the O'Neill team.
There you go.
So it's like, it's funny, like if I never chased that guy around Mastic and like finally...
He never bought a house?
No, he never bought a house. But I swear he just like wanted to hang out because he started giving me gifts and it started getting weird. But yeah. But,
all right.
So anyway.
So to close out, I'm kind of curious. You're very young.
Yeah.
I know you might not feel like you're very young, but you're very young. Trust me. What does the future hold?
My goal, I mean, I really would like to make top 20 under 40.
You probably already are. You definitely are. You are.
But if you asked me that, a year ago, I would say like you're absolutely crazy. So my goal was to double what I did last year, and I did, and I'm on track to do more. And honestly, to just keep doubling every year. That's my goal.
So laser focused, love real estate, here to stay, not going anywhere, planted a flag in the Sachem School District area and then some, and you're just going to crush it. Yeah. Good for you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I have a lot of respect for you. It was very cool to watch you come up, in the next year and see all that positive change. And it's going to be really exciting to continue to watch you grow further in the future. So it's been cool to see what happens next year in a not COVID year. Yeah. Where hopefully we return to some kind of normalcy. So you're awesome. Thank you. If people are looking to buy a house, they're looking to sell a house, where can they get in touch with you? How do they find you?
So I'll start with my cell phone number, 631-885-1834. And my Instagram is bmurphy_RE.
Only if you're really looking to buy a house. Don't need to bring gifts.
Yeah.
Obviously, my name is Charles, AKA the Handsome Homebuyer. If you have a house that smells like cat pee, dated from the 1960s, hell, anything real estate related, I'm quick, I'm easy. I like to think I'm a good time. I want to buy it. 516-777 sold. And obviously, we got the captain, 516-513-8838. Plans, permits, anything architectural or permit related. We got you. That's a wrap.